higher vibrations, and so are you. And boy, oh boy, has it been a wild ride. I couldn't even get my computer to work for a minute there. And then, anyway, if you think we're in Mercury retrograde still, before I introduce my guest, I want to quickly say thank you, a deep, heartfelt thank you to all of you for your amazing birthday wishes I've been receiving. It's been amazing. I'm just the outpouring of messages from so many people. I haven't been able to address most of them. So I just thought maybe I'd give a blanket thank you so much to all of you. That was really kind and lovely, and I appreciate that. Um, my guest is this amazing lady that I've talked to a few times, and every time that I talk like, well, okay, here's the thing, is that I actually got the chance to talk. What, Naomi? I talked to you for like 4 or 5 times, and each time that I've
Mhm.
met with you, you've been a whole different person. But this is the theme, is that this loving, beautiful, balanced energy that comes through. I know you don't judge yourself the same way that I see you. We don't normally do that, but I want you to know that you are amazing. And so anyone getting the honor to be in your presence is someone who leaves there so much better than they were when they came. So I just want to say thank you so much for sharing space with us and sharing yourself here today. How are you?
I am doing really well. Thank you for inviting me on, and you're absolutely right. I tend to struggle with seeing myself the way that others see me, even though I am very intentional about how I show up. And so, thank you for saying that, and happy birthday. And I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so much fun that you have quite a bit of a background in your experience too. Like you are just as eclectic as most of my favorite people. So, like I was wondering if you wanted to share some of that. Like you have a lot of different like fingers in different pots. You're a poet as well, aren't you?
I have just stepped into my creative writing side. Um, I'm sure that it's been here all along, but I've really allowed myself to kind of lean into that. I do have a poem that I would like to share, if that's okay, before we begin.
Yeah, please.
Okay. The font is so small, so I'm going to try my best to read this. But I wrote this poem. I didn't really realize or call it a poem until recently when it kind of came back into my field last year for a friend who was putting together basically, I would say like a magazine um, filled with a lot of excerpts from young people in his world. Um, so I'm going to read it because I think it's very pertinent to my life now. In a way, it was kind of foreshadowing my spiritual awakenings. And so, okay. Every day, I think death is never far. I carry the awareness with me at work. I feel it in my family. It lingers in my thoughts. Yet, without hesitation, I can say that I value my life and have no fear of death. I truly mean it. To be raised in an industry that profits off of death is to be constantly reminded of life's impermanence. Death comes without warning for us all. Why don't you think about it more? Are you scared? Does it hurt? With curiosity, I think about mortality. How how do they do death in other places? What's its meaning? What are the rituals? How do they prepare for those final moments? Caring for Papa full time means one day he may not awaken. I don't think the same, yet I decide how I choose to live. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo has preceded this life of mine. Hope, reason, and discipline, informed by Buddhism, guides me through the suffering of the stages of birth, aging, sickness, and death. To fully embrace is to transform the challenge ahead, to enjoy both life and death with equal delight, wrote Daisaku Ikeda, one of my eternal mentors. That I believe this is the ultimate goal. What is the purpose? To become happy, to find a deep appreciation for every moment, the beautiful and the brutal, the painless and the painful. Love, service. Oh, we are all connected. Love, service, helping others become happy, born from compassion and connection. Memento mori, remember you must die, grounds me in the present. Everything is finite. Answer the call to live with intention, joy, courage. No need to fear what's to come. Thank you. uh,
Wow.
I've
Thank
never
you.
shared a poem out loud like that before, so thank you,
Really?
everyone. Yeah,
Wow, it was beautiful.
thank you.
And it,
Um, no, sorry.
no, it's okay.
um, yeah, so that really does explain, I feel like, a lot of the different, um, I guess, pots that I have my hand in and how I've kind of come to where I am now. Also, for reference, I am 27. I live in Southern California, and I take care of my grandpa full time. I recently quit my job, so I'm kind of in this um, limbo space, but it has really allowed me to lean into kind of the questions of like who I am, what do I want to do, who do I want to be. Um, and yeah, Mila has been a huge part of that for me too. And yeah, so I don't know where to go from here, but thank you everyone for holding that. And yeah,
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, I know how hard that is. It's very, I mean, coming on a platform like this and then reading your deepest thoughts, in such a I get it. I really do get it because I'm also I remember when I first started to share my writings, it was because I was in English 1010, like I didn't have a choice. And I had previously been a closet writer. It's like
mm,
you write stuff, you don't share it. And so I just want you to know I understand the gravity of what you just did. And wow, beautiful. So beautiful. I hope you continue sharing because I mean, as I don't know if you've noticed in the comments, but everyone really appreciated that. It was beautiful. And it really perfectly encapsulates who you are, you know, in this
yeah,
deepest, most beautiful way.
thank you. Yes, which is in a way why I wanted to share that today because as I was rereading, I didn't. Yeah, I had a moment where I was like, wow, I guess I had seen myself that I wrote that about a year ago in this moment prior. So
Yeah.
the way time works is really funny, but
Fascinating. So
um,
that was a year old.
yeah,
Wow. Lavender moon energetics.
yes, Lavender Moon Energetics, big shout out. Also a huge part of my spiritual awakening and just a community, um, my community, a part of my community. And yes, my parents are actually, I'm the fourth, I would be considered the fourth generation of a funeral business. So that hence the profiting off of death piece uh, has really shaped how I see death, how I interact with people. Um, it helped me learn early on in my life that I knew I wanted to serve. I just
Yeah.
didn't really know in what capacity. Um, yeah, there's a lot I feel like I can say about that.
Oh,
But
yeah, I'm sure.
yeah,
Well, here's a question about that. How has it helped your awareness with, like, the energies of our existence, knowing the transition? Because 'cause you're a transition specialist, right?
yeah,
I mean, that's what I would
yes.
call you anyway.
Um, I would say from an early on in my life, I I understood dying and living and dying and those like the cycles um really well. And it allowed me to be able to kind of sit with people who are kind of contending with that reality. Um being or just even being around people in the family business. Um, but I think as I got older, I started questioning what death was for myself.
Yeah.
Um, I would say probably what kicked off my first spiritual awakening, where when I really started to ask, what is the purpose of life, love living, was when my grandma passed away. And that was during the pandemic. So that was also, we were also all just grappling with loss, and fear and anxiety.
Yeah.
And that is when I felt fortunate enough, or I felt fortunate to kind of um, come back to Buddhism, which is how I was brought up, which also made my understanding of death very, I don't want to say simple, but easy to grasp,
Yeah.
um, because you just understand it as, well, that's the nature of life. Um, and it's a lot of it, a lot of the writings are based in nature too. So it really helps you look outside of your own human existence and realize everything is functioning in that life and death cyclical nature.
Yeah.
Um, and so when my grandma passed away and I kind of came back to the practice of Buddhism on my own terms, I really started to lean further into like, what is the purpose? What is my purpose? And um, at the time, it really had me lean into wanting to serve people.
Yeah.
Um, and I know I'm going down a tangent and I'll get back to your question, but I think that in really allowing myself to sit with those questions, I continue to expand my curiosity around life and how other people experience life and loss and death. And I would say, fast forward to 2023, I lost my aunt, who was a huge part of my life. And I actually got this tattoo here in tribute of her. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. It's Betty Boop on a dove.
Yeah.
Um, I actually kind of witnessed her on her deathbed, um, losing her life, like watching her soul slowly leave her body. And I didn't realize that was what was happening, but I could just see every day when I went to go visit her, she was just becoming her body would just become a little bit more lifeless.
Mm.
But on her way out, she was in so much pain, and it was kind of hard to see. I'd never really experienced that part of life. Oh my God, sorry if I start crying. um, but that really had me questioning, like, how, why was it so difficult for her to accept the reality
Yeah.
that she was dying? And and it made me think about how other people, when they face this moment in their life, um, how will they accept it? And then so that kind of like opened me up to a completely different mission, because I started studying death in a way that I never really had before, um, really leaning into a lot of Buddhist texts. And what I learned was that we go through um, I guess, like the 5 stages of grief,
Yeah.
um, which don't happen necessarily all at in the like one order. They can happen all at once. It's like anger. Oh gosh, I can't even recall them right now. But um,
Bargaining,
bargaining. Um,
denial, or
mhm.
I don't remember the order either.
Yeah,
I've experienced them in the correct order. The
yeah. There's
correct
really no
order.
correct order. But what I witnessed was her experiencing them even prior to her leaving. Like normally, I guess you would think that like, oh yeah, only people who experience the loss experience that, but actually no, you go through this like pre-grieving phase where you do see
Oh,
those state like those different experiences happening. Um, and for her, the lack of acceptance was really hard for me to watch
yeah.
because it was like she was hanging on. And I remember sitting with her. It was the last time I sat with her, and I basically like whispered into her ear as she. Again, you could tell she was also just in so much pain. And
Yeah.
I was like, it's okay. You can let go. And yeah, that was really difficult for me, but it really helped me just want to help other people kind of transition out of this life in a less painful, begrudging way.
Yeah.
Um, and so I would say, I forgot what your question was initially. Sorry.
I
But
love this conversation. That's all.
but yeah, I think that it my perception of death and dying definitely changed once I was able to experience that. And it really did help me. It like helped me understand what I feel is my purpose is, which I'm fully trying to step into at this point in my life now. And as Mila said, a transition specialist.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what that looks like right now. And I'm getting like glimpses and having experiences with people where I'm starting to think that this is the right path that I'm on.
Yeah.
Um, for example, yesterday I was sitting with this woman that I work with, and I'm basically her assistant. Um, and she's definitely a woman of service, and it's really inspiring to be around. But we were just sitting outside and in the sun, and we were just taking a break from work. But we were having a conversation about essentially how we both wanted to pass or what our transition or our going home looks like. Um, and she looked at me and she basically shared that she's never really had this conversation with anyone before, and how she thinks that a lot of older people, she's around 80. If that's probably important to know. Um, she shared that she thinks that a lot of older people would benefit from having conversations like this because it there's a peace of mind that it gives you. And yeah, so I'm working currently on trying to figure out a way to make myself available for people who want to talk about their transition or want to reflect on their life, or um, really just want to contend with the reality of the cycles of life and death.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In a beautiful way, not a on purpose ending your life kind of way, just to be clear for
right,
anyone
right,
wondering.
right. That's an important distinction. Thank you.
If you are struggling, a lot of people are struggling right now. I please don't give up. It's just starting to get better. It
Yeah.
really is. It really, really is. Though this is a very crucial, I know what you meant. That's what I'm.
No, thank you.
Um, in fact, I have a little bit of background in this too, and so I'm going to lead my question with this comment. Is when I was a younger person, I chose to be. I was going to go into the medical field. That was my goal, and I was succeeding at it. At the time, I was employed at a place where there were a lot of people who were like on their last limb, and there was I just, you notice patterns. And for one reason or another, the people in the facility, they wouldn't go unless I was on shift. It always
Hmm.
worked out that way. Like, and then I would be the one doing the what they called postmortem care, where you know, you're there for them as they're leaving, and then you're also present to, you know, help them help their family to not be shocked by it. Like help them to look more presentable, and it's an honorable thing. It's not creepy or gross. And there is 100% a parting. They leave a gift on you. They leave energy on you, like a good thing. It's a gift. And being that you've been in this field for so many years, it's a family business. I'm wondering, there's going to be people wondering too if there's you've had any paranormal experiences. So maybe you can if add into that too if you feel like it. Though, what is that like after? Because when you start to work with the individual, they've passed for a little bit of time. They've been gone already, right? What's that like? Do they still leave that energy on you, or is that still happening?
Truthfully, I didn't really allow myself to become aware of the energy potential that each human being has until recently. And I have kind of taken a step away from working in the actual mortuary space, but I started implementing my own like rituals, I guess you could say, where I would honor each person that I was in the presence of who has passed.
Yeah.
By whether it was, lighting an incense and us having a moment together when I would make sure that the person was presentable before the family came in. Um, Sometimes I would talk to them and I wouldn't know, I don't really know if, like, I know obviously that they would hear that, because I truly believe that. But as far as having paranormal experiences or noticing any signs of them responding, no, I haven't experienced that, in that space. I
Yeah.
will say I do feel like I've opened myself up to become more connected to signs or, um, just energies or presence from people who've crossed over. I can definitely feel my own guides, one of my aunt being one of them, when they're around me. Um, but I just think that the conversation and the intent, uh, being in that space is it just always felt very peaceful for me.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't experience that, so I yeah, I think being around
Yeah.
it is a very like you said, it's a very honorable experience, um, that I definitely don't take lightly. I've even had the opportunity to help people, like, um, put the clothes on their loved one or do their hair, and even that experience feels very, um, just like it feels magical in and of itself. Um, so yeah, I guess to answer your question, that's kind of what it feels like for me. Um, and I don't know about paranormal. People definitely experience things. But for me, there's no fear around being in that
Yeah.
space, so it
Yeah.
doesn't feel paranormal or
I hear
weird
you.
or yeah, that's a good
Can you
question.
hear my washer freaking out over there? Is it distracting you at all?
It's not distracting me. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay. So my daughter's helping me do laundry in the other room. Okay. And paranormal for me, I've faced same. I just yes. I don't feel it scary or unnerving. It's like what I mean by in my translation of paranormal means like you feel them, they interact with you in some way. Like I've never felt it being like a haunting kind of thing.
Mm-mm.
There's actually a question in the audience about this little Chef Deb. By the way, Chef Deb, I saw your earlier comment. I'm sorry to hear about your parents and your mom just recently passed. That's a
Mm.
lot. Both parents left in the same year. She says they say you don't actually leave for 40 days. Has anyone heard of this? And I can comment on this, so if you have anything you'd like to add to that before I do.
No, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
So I've had my own weird experiences over the years, and as a lot of you know, since I had a near-death experience at 4, and I started having imaginary friends, and then when I was 7, my grandfather passed, and we found out that they weren't imaginary friends. Um,
Mm.
I actually didn't know for sure, but anyway, back then, is that I've noticed that it depends on how close you are to somebody. I
Mm.
find, though, that they don't typically really start to really talk to you, or seem to be present enough to do so, right away. Like, immediately they are, but then there's this period of, like, I don't know if they're off doing spirit school or what it is that they're doing, but then they come back. Then they come back and are more available. Um, I can say this, that there's a better ability to be present after 7 days have passed. So people who have funerals after 7 days, I always think, oh, cool, their soul gets to see their funeral. Like when people do it really quickly, you always think, well, it's fine. But the person's like comes back in this a flash of a blink of an eye, and they're like, oh, you guys are done. You already moved on about your day. Like it's very quick for those who have passed. So, but I think it's different for everybody.
Yeah, I think so too. That I don't want to say that there's one blanket experience for each soul, because you often hear things like some souls don't really want to cross over, so they get stuck.
Yeah.
Um, and that's where you hear a lot of like horror haunted stories from like lost souls who are confused or stuck or
Right.
don't really know what they need to release in order to like cross over.
Yeah.
Um, and you often hear about a kind of speaking to the 7 days, or what I guess what feels like 7 days for us, but could be a long or a short time for them on the other side.
Right.
Uh, you often hear about like this life review process where you kind of are like looking back at your life and like the, I guess, the causes and the
Yeah.
effects that you've made. Um, but and I think when it comes down to our celebratory aspect of these souls, when you think about, I guess, on like a 3D level about how each culture or each place honors different people. People do it in different ways. When I was in Italy for I think that was 2024. I That was a very interesting experience for me that probably shared with you. I think I did share that with you, Mila.
Uh-huh.
And essentially, I was there because I also love wine, and so I'm a sommelier. My goal at some point in my life is to make wine, and so I had the opportunity to go to Italy and work with a family to help them with the harvest. And while I was there, I remember asking, like, I would love to see how death is done here or experience some kind of like celebration of life here. Um, and it's very mystic, but the one day that I wasn't working, and I was with the winemaker, really, we like really bonded. Um, she and I were kind of walking through the town of this small, was like previously a Roman kind of Catholic, or it was Catholic, but a castle um, that now people live in, and a very small town where you had to park your car outside of the city and walk the cobblestones,
Wow.
the walkways. Yeah, it was beautiful. And so we were walking around. She was showing me, and essentially her. she had asked me if we can go visit her grandmother, and her grandmother passed on our way to walking to go visit her, literally about 5 minutes after she had asked.
Wow.
And there was a moment where she just started sprinting to her house, and I was like, "What is going on? I'm just gonna run after her." And we get there. She goes upstairs. She's like, "Just wait for a little bit." And I'm sitting outside, and all you hear is these women just wailing. And I'm just sitting there like, wow. Like, of course, of all people, this would happen while I'm here. But also, I guess at one point I was like, did I summon this? Oh my gosh. Um, but Mila assured me that I did not. That was
Yeah.
actually supposed to happen while I was there.
Yeah.
And what I concluded from that, one, that yes, this is part of this is not separate from my mission, my purpose here. Um, so that was definitely one of the questions I was answering at the time, but it also just allowed me to see how people deal with loss, and in a physical space like sense, how loss or how death is even handled in Italy. And in fact, they don't embalm people. Um,
Good.
your funeral is the next day. The doctor comes into your home, writes your death certificate. As many people who are around, like that's how you celebrate your loved one. And one thing I also really realized was, um, they her grandmother was older in her 90s, I believe, and they knew she was going to pass. She she had taken a fall not too long prior, and it kind of just made her health decline. But they sent her home to be in the comfort of her home to have her final moments. We don't do that here in the
Yeah.
US.
We should.
And we should. We
Yeah.
should. Even in some cultures, um, like that's that is the standard in a lot of cultures. And that really left a lasting impression on me in terms of how I envision myself passing
Yeah.
or crossing over in this life, leaving my physical body. Um, and yeah, it was a very overall interesting experience, and took a lot away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And as it should be, just as Chef Deb says, I totally agree. Like, there's actually a fun little rabbit hole that I've found myself down. But did you know that the reason or where the tradition of burying somebody came from is
Mhm.
actually uh, many indigenous groups, and I say indigenous as a blanket, like I'm talking about all over the world, people who are, you know, living with Earth rather than of Earth. I don't know. Anyway, is that they used to participate in this practice when someone appeared to have passed. They would bury them in the ground, and within 3 to 7 days, they would rise again,
Mm.
the earth healing them. And that was where that tradition first began. And so, like being in the womb of earth, I'm not suggesting anyone do this, okay? But this is a tradition I've just found time and time again in my, I find rabbit holes that I jump down all the time. And so, but that one is very consistent, and I wondered as a younger person, why did we stop burning people? And how come they don't ever have to build new cemeteries? And like, there's a lot of those kinds of questions that have just, However, uh, yeah, it turned into money. That's what Chef Deb's just saying. It turned to money, and it's like this whole, it's the difference between being buried in the ground and being cremated. It's like $9,000 different to be buried. It's like, wow. That whole, where it used to be, like you said, the way that they honored the passing. Because for those who are just joining, you're a transition specialist. You're somebody who has, since a very young age, if not at the very beginning of your life, have always been like that loving, like steady energy of, as a bridge. No, letting the individuals, because as you said, this is something that I just wanted to remember to mention, is that the ones who linger, the hauntings, are the ones who didn't get to be seen.
Mm,
Usually there's something that needs to be conveyed, and that's it. Like they're concerned or wondering about their family or their friends, or someone didn't know what happened at the end, kind of thing, because they feel like there has to be a conversation at the last moment. And you're that conversationalist. You're that person who gives them that moment that they needed, so they can be like, okay, this is what's happening. Okay, we're good. I can go. And where a lot of these services, I don't know, I can't judge it because I don't work in those places, but it feels to me that there's a very big separation in a lot of these places, unlike what you do. And so, how do you know to do that? Is that just, you know what I mean?
um, I don't know. I don't know. It's just something that to me feels necessary,
Yeah.
to really be able to see people, whether breathing or not. Um, yeah, I did because I guess when I do look, I have the opportunity to have one-on-one time with, people's loved ones who've passed. I wonder about them. I I wanna know the story, and I don't normally get the story, but in that moment that I have with that person, I am able to just appreciate them, um, and the opportunities that I get when I do get to, be a part of their service or, just be present in people's service and to be able to hear how other people talk about their loved one. Um, I don't like I said, I don't take it lightly, and I think to me, it gives me a glimpse into their life, and for that, that's where the appreciation really comes through.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Oh, oh, thank you.
I'd like to have her for my transition. She does have a very kind heart, and you do. You're such a, and you're only 27. I don't know if anyone heard that. Like typically a person will begin to find balance. I've noticed women are between 32 and 35. Men start a little bit later, but not too much later than that. Somewhere in that same window, though, typically. And there's always the exception to the rule. Though here you are at 27, and you are a steady, loving energy in such a way that it's difficult to wrap my brain around the fact that you're only 27.
I think that I would say the years of okay, so when I would say from 25 to now, I and a lot of it has to do with, I think, really choosing, taking on the responsibility to take care of my grandpa,
Mhm.
who I feel like I have been with for multiple lifetimes, not just this one. And he's really my best friend in this life, and he's in good health. He's about 80. He's 85. And as soon as I took on that responsibility, I realized immediately, especially as he started to age and I started noticing symptoms, that I probably will. There is a reality where I saw myself being with him in his final days, and I took it upon myself to just try to make it the best possible experience for him and for myself in those moments. So I would say between the ages of 25 and 27 and now, um, I got really curious and I wanted to know how what is it gonna take for us to be able to have difficult conversations? What are those conversations? Um, what are the signs? What are the indications that he may be starting to transition? He's nowhere near that. So you could say, I guess I'm over prepared. Um, but I think as I started to really explore how to best prepare him, but also myself, spiritually too, because it's not easy caring for someone, especially a stubborn older man, um, who hasn't really fully accepted his that he's going to leave. He has, but he lives his life like he like each day is his last, really. Um, and so it's sometimes hard to wrangle in. And I got to the point where I had to stop trying to control him and just allow him to be. But what did that look like for me too? Really preparing myself for the highs and the lows, really having a spiritual practice and a community that helped ground me in just evolving into just I don't want to. This sounds like cliche, but like the best version of myself. But I guess I just that's what I was striving for. Like, how can I continue to better myself? How can I continue to become stronger, to hold the frequency of all of the stuff that was happening around me? How do I like not react in a way that I'm reflecting back about it and feeling bad about myself about it, you know? So so there's a lot of like investment into really building my spiritual armor.
Yeah.
And through that though, I started unlocking things about myself that I didn't even realize I could hold, like being able to sit with people who have passed on but need to still be seen, not realizing that that was the case, but just doing it. Um, you know, really being able to, I don't know, develop compassion for people, even people who are really test it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, just like there are things that I started realizing were happening and opening up in my life, that I know were effects of a lot of the effort that I was putting in to really become a stronger version, my closer to like my highest self.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess within this those 2 years, 2025 to now, I yeah, feel like I have aged spiritually, probably a lot faster than I am physically.
Oh, yeah,
So yeah,
definitely. And I'm super impressed with you. I always am whenever we talk. It's just that, I get to show you to my friends now. The types of conversations that we have, I didn't actually expect that we would be going down this particular. I didn't know what we were going to be talking about. We're not closing it up. We still have time to keep chatting. I'm just saying, it's fascinating because you are so versatile. You're so eclectic, and you have so many different gifts when most people don't expect what I would assume. I by a 27-year-old having such grounding and such, yeah, your maturity is crazy, right, Chef Deb? She says here, you're crazy cool. Yeah, you're
thanks,
just
Chef.
steps, your stabilized presence. I can tell that's what you do. I can tell that you're here to calm the souls and to elevate the frequency of this plane. And by doing that, you're able to allow for the static to be released and the joy to come. I never saw a tunnel in any of those times that I had my near death experiences. The a lot of people do. I didn't see the tunnel, but I didn't also wasn't missing it. you know,
Mm.
my point is that most people have, there's been some questions in the audience and just kind of addressing that, is everyone's story is different. There's not any cookie cutter exit story. There's not, everybody has their own. And what happens when you leave is dependent on how much healing you've done while you've been here, and how quickly unexpected your transition is as well. If you have support, people guiding you and helping you, as you do for these individuals, I feel confident in deducing that the people that you assist don't have to linger, because you've helped them to go, to release their weird things that they hold on to. They end up in this place called, I call it the gray room, because they can't see anyone else or notice anyone else. It's just gray like clouds. But they're always holding on to something. It's like a baby blanket, or it's a symbol of one of their children, or there's something. And with someone in the position like you are in with for them, they don't have to go there. That would be called what people later called hell. It's not really. It's in the mind. It's your inability to release that fractal of yourself back into the ethers. So thank you for your service. Deeply appreciative. Like, there's, how do you be okay? Like, you're all about service and helping everybody else. How do you be okay for you?
Great question. It is still evolving. It has taken me a long time, and okay, I say a long time, but I haven't lived that long. But I have really taken a lot of time to figure that out for myself. But I think where I'm at right now, is my main priority is my energy body. And I've gotten to the point where I know when it feels right. I know when I feel in alignment with source. Like, I know when I'm operating at my highest self. And anything that tends to deviate from that, is when I'm like, okay, I don't like being anywhere else but in that space. So I need to do something to kind of like regulate, or kind of do what I can to get back to there. So I chant. What you heard earlier, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, is the Buddhist practice that really is the foundation for my life. And I would say up until recently, I have kind of opened that practice as well by doing a lot of like guided meditations. Um, I like to listen and really integrate. Oh, can you hear
I'm,
me? My Wi-Fi might be.
I lost signal for a second, so
Okay.
please go on.
Let me know if you no, let me know if you need me to repeat.
Please repeat, actually,
So I recently started doing. Okay, yeah. So when I don't feel in alignment, and really what that feels like for me is when I experience the doubt, the negative talk, the fear, I immediately know something is off. So that is when I will either go and chant. So the Buddhist practice for me, Nichiren Buddhism, we chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And I just recently realized, no, I didn't just recently realize this, I knew this, but didn't really sink in for me. So that essentially translates to, I devote myself to the mystic law of cause and effect through sound, but it's very vibratory. You chant in repetition, and it's also the name of the teaching, the final teaching of the Buddha. But it has this resonance when you hear it, and you hear so many people do it. You don't need to know what it's saying, like what's happening.
Yeah.
But for me, that's what it sounds like to be in alignment with source, or the mystic law, or whatever you call your higher power. That energy for me is what it sounds like. So that's how I kind of step into it. when I start to feel misaligned. But recently, I have been um, integrating more guided meditations. So um, I, I'll listen to your meditations, Mila, or I will. Uh, there are a couple people that I follow online. Um, a couple people who also channel different ascended masters. There's this one lady that I really appreciate. Her name is Kelly Kawadney, and she channels Angel Raphael. And she has these light codes that created. She's created like 56 of them, and she's gives these like shortened. I don't even know how you would describe it, but they're light codes, and they're like 3 week long uh, meditations that she channels, and she channels all kinds of um, various ascended masters. And so lately I have been kind of integrating that into my spiritual practice, and it has allowed me to I don't even know if obviously it's working, but I don't even know how to speak to the effects um, from the outside looking in, but from the inside looking out, I do feel I feel so different. I'm the type of person
Yeah.
though who hears those active meditations and goes to sleep. Or maybe I'm not sleeping, but I'm out. And
Yeah.
so, but I don't think I'm sleeping because as soon as it's over, I immediately wake up. So being
Yeah.
able to integrate what I like the transmissions into my day-to-day life is kind of where I'm at lately. Um, but I do really make an effort to either chant for 30 minutes to an hour a day and then listen to a transmission when I really do feel when I have the time, and usually I'll make the time, or I start to feel like dysregulated. But also, I'm a very disciplined person, and discipline for me has like a disciplined practice, especially when it comes to like active meditation, like exercise. I'm pretty extreme about that. So I like to swim. I like to box. I don't like to run, but I try to do it especially when I'm feeling very.
Box? That's so cool. Do you
I
kickbox too, or is it all just the fists?
it's just the fists. Kickboxing. I don't know how my body would respond to that. I've done it a couple of times, but I think it definitely just loves. Yes, those codes do upgrade my DNA. That thank you. That's a yes. But yeah, I love to box. I love the community that I've created around my boxing too.
Yeah.
And then I do a lot of yoga. So that helps me connect all of those physical practices. I realize help me connect with my physical body in a way that I we don't really allow ourselves to.
Yeah.
Um, so a lot of times when I am noticing like ascension symptoms, it is because the thing like the active exercises that I am doing, I'm noticing them either before. Sometimes I get really bad cramps. Sometimes my appetite is really messed up when I try and exercise in the way that I normally do, but it doesn't really. Sometimes we got to go easy. Sometimes I can like take it up a notch. That's usually how I can tell like, oh, I'm definitely purging right now. I definitely need to drink more water. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, to answer your question, I have really prioritized my spiritual, my spiritual energy body, um,
Awesome.
and physical health too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so important. And kudos, man. Like I would say that most of the us experience the level of ascension symptoms that we do due to just not bouncing enough. The honestly,
Mm-hmm.
though you could use a lot of different words to describe what I just said, though it comes down to the lymphatic flow. And when you're boxing, you're keeping on your toes, right? And you're like making that friction, and you got all those lymph nodes that are you're like causing that. You know, you can go jump on a trampoline and you can dance, you could do qigong, tai chi, you know, rigorous yoga. There's a lot of different things you could do to emulate or experience the same motion in your body, the same kind of vibrate. There's also those people are really famous right now. Those things, what are they called? They're like, they look like a surfboard that you stand on and you goes, and you just, it wiggles you. Like that's for your lymphatic system too. The people, I don't know
Huh.
if they know exactly what they're doing, but they know they feel better when they do it. So I
Yeah.
can see that would really benefit you. And then taking the space, observing your own. I love that you do that because I just like a lot of us, everybody seems to be brought up in some type of belief system that needs to be evaluated and then encouraged to be more aligned for you. And the fact that you took a break from your family stuff and then found your own way into it, you know, you utilize a lot of different practices, and then whether or not you want to say it out loud, I'm going to say this because I know other people are seeing it too, is that the kind of loving balance that you have can only be experienced in the pureness that you have when you're able to see that you have worth.
Mm.
And so many of us, I'm sure everybody has places that they could, you know, but what I'm saying is that most of us don't have what you have. And I was wondering if you could maybe elaborate, or is there some way that you found that you could share with people? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Chef Deb, no way. Thank you. Sorry, I just got to interrupt this by
No.
saying, wow. Thank you so much, Chef Deb. What a
Wow.
beautiful birthday present. Oh, thank you.
Wow.
Pardon me. I didn't, but that, wow.
No, that's incredible. Um, yeah, that's an amazing question. And of course, you asked this today actually because I was earlier this morning, I was going through one of the transmissions from, it wasn't actually from, it was through Kelly, but it wasn't Angel Raphael. But it was reactivating the white flame, which yeah, I'm not even gonna butcher it. I'm gonna let you just kind of deep dive on what that is. But essentially, it's integrating all of these different colorful flames that have different um, resonance within us that are dormant or have been deactivated just by being raised in this society, being told different things like you're not worthy, you, um, yeah, you're separate, all the things, all the wounds that
Mhm.
we have to really take the time to dig up and address. And how everyone does that is very different, but and healing is very different. But today was actually the first day in the meditation that I've cried. My eyes were closed too, but there were just tears because there was a
Yeah, yeah,
call to really, yeah, there was a call to really bring up all those thoughts and all those like the the things that you've heard that you've deeply ingrained in your life, um, that tell you you're not worthy, that tell you that you don't deserve respect, all those things. Bring it up and really release it. And I'm not
yeah.
saying that. So thank you for asking that because it definitely just reaffirmed what I heard today and what I will take some time to continue to do, but I think for me, um, my acceptance of my worthiness, or really being able to identify that, really came from experiencing hardship. Uh,
Mm,
yeah, I guess you can't really have one without the other, especially because we do all, to a certain extent, experience like suffering here. Um, that's part of the contract of us being here, being human.
mhm.
Um, but I think when it me really overcoming and understanding, the karma behind a lot of the suffering that I've experienced, its reoccurring nature, really trying to understand why I chose that, why
Mhm.
really helped remind me that I did choose this. Um, and there is something very liberating about that for me because once I realized that and really decided to take responsibility for my life and everything that is a part of it, I started to really treasure my life, treasure the efforts that I've made, the mistakes, the good, the bad. Um, and it really helped free me from feeling the trauma and the negativity of all the stuff in the past that have happened that I would say that I couldn't really control, but definitely controlled how I reacted to. And I really decided that I wasn't going to let anybody make me feel that way or allow myself to really feel that way. And I still struggle with this every day. But being able to wake up and have a practice where you can look at yourself um, in in the mirror or just really sit with yourself and declare that I am worthy today. I am worthy. I chose this, and I will not make anybody feel the way that I've felt in the past. Uh, I think that's kind of where I started to become more intentional about how I felt about myself. And
Yeah.
I will say it's so hard being a young person in this day and age because you go out into the world and you are facing at every corner something that is telling you that you're not good enough, that you're not beautiful enough, that you are
Right.
not worthy of respect. Oh my gosh. Um, and so it's very hard to kind of hold that frequency. And yeah, it's so I really prioritize making sure that I feel like I'm operating at my highest and really what I'm working on now is like integrating that like avatar self that I'm really trying to unlock, that like highest self, the self that I
Yeah.
want to be um with who I am right now. And I don't know how to like there's not that big of a gap for sure. But every day I'm working towards what can I do better today? Um who like and a lot of that is like either through forgiveness or through having conversations, difficult ones, through
Yeah.
really checking myself, checking my ego, taking responsibility. Um, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I know that's why we're all not we all yeah, it's so hard. But it's so worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is so worth it. 100%. 100%. And letting yourself uh, receive the gifts that is meant for you is uh, we've all been indoctrinated and conditioned and so on and so forth, whether or not you even only those living fully off grid with no TV, I would say. And then even then they may have parents that came from society, so there's some kind of that's the name of the game. It's about unindoctrinating, unconditioning. You must first unlearn what you have learned to learn, and this type of practice is often something that you'll see people having when they're in the years of their life where they're on the porch in a rocking chair. And that's why I'm so impressed with this 27-year-old beauty in front of me that's able to be such. I mean, you're beautiful in every way too, I mean, I don't mean to embarrass you in front of everybody, you know,
Thank you.
it's just that you are, and I know you don't see it, and that's why I'm telling you, is that you have such a way, and you're 27, and so I'm just super impressed. When I was 27, that was a hard year, but it was a year that I would never not do, looking back at it. But it was a lot. It was a lot, and um, the world that you are creating for the world, for everybody else to be in, is something that all of us are benefiting from. And we all, I know everybody who's listening and watching, you know, we appreciate you and thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You're doing the stuff that most of us don't even know how to begin to address,
Mm.
and by taking care of yourself, you take care of other people. And it's like you're one of the few people who actually get that.
It
We
took
see,
me a long time to get that. And you were a huge part of helping me see that, uh, because, yeah, I was, what is the saying? Pouring from an empty cup. And that was a huge turning point for me in my spiritual awakening too, realizing that I needed to value and take care of myself first so that I could really understand how to do it for other people.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
that. That's awesome. I've been honored to be a part of your journey in some small way. I see my impact on people is more of simply just getting out of the way and letting spirit talk. And it was actually mentioned earlier. Uh, I think Benedict said something about it, that um, once you get to that point, I don't remember the words exactly. I can't find the comment right now. Once you get to that point inside yourself where you're able to uh, trust that you're a clear channel,
Mm,
um, the kind of knowledge that will flow from you is, I mean, I can see what's going to be happening for you just in you're already starting this part of your journey. And I am really looking forward to seeing the kind of impact that you continue to make on the world. And it starts from healing yourself, and then everybody else gets healed, like it spills out. The overflow causes that ripple, right? And so I can't wait till you see that part, though. That's going to be fun.
thank you. I did have a question for you, because think it was your last show or on one of the shows you spoke on recently. Um, you said that you were really excited for this birthday,
Yes.
and I want to know why or what about
Well,
this birthday?
there's a lot of things that we know about that we kind of wait for, and one of so uh, short. I bring this up occasionally, so I'm not sure if everybody knows this though. I've had a multiple near-death experiences throughout my life, though my first one um, was when I was 4. In fact, it was the day before my 4th birthday, and I started to have communication. And back then, I called him Bob. Turns out it's Archangel Michael. Same thing, because they don't care what their name, what we call them, because that's not even really their name anyway. They don't use names. They started to show me images, and back then they would tell me things by my age because I was 6. And when you're little, time is told by either what house you're living in, because we move so much, or how old you're gonna be, right? And the years between 3 years ago and today, we're gonna be the suckiest and the hardest and the most awesome of the awakening, meaning awesome, like, wow, I cannot believe we just did that. Like it's building the IKEA house, like you're just like, we did it. And now we get to live in this beautiful place, or I don't know, IKEA. But anyway, um, and so they showed it like images of fire, like the
Mm,
world blowing up in fire. And they kept saying purification by fire. Purification means trauma. And it wasn't just specific to my own experience. Anyway, the other side of that, so now we got through that three-year window. We did it. And the other side of it now, we're actually going to have something happen. And I've only told a few people this. So this is my vision. So it's up to interpretation. Take it the way you want. Is that I only just found out that there's a prophecy from before that actually talks about this. Um, that supposedly happens on the 4/4 portal, April 4th.
Mm,
Is So everything after today is going to get easier and easier and easier. It just is. Some people are going to not notice it at first because they're still holding on to, like you're talking about people transitioning, and they're holding on, and it makes it a painful, agonizing process. So too does awakening happen like this. If you're holding on really hard, and you think that you're supposed to want the matrix or whatever. Um, However, as we move into this other place, something's going to happen causing these orbs of light to all come up out of the ocean all at the same time. But there's not rivers falling off. You know how when like something bursts out of the surface of the water, it's like splashes all this water off of it. And these things are large. I don't really know what they are exactly, but I know that they contained their consciousness, and they all come up out of the ocean at like the same time. And what it feels like is mama shows up in the room and takes the scissors from the toddler. Like the things that have been maybe not super aligned for this planet,
mm,
um, gets fixed somehow, like improved, where really what we've been experiencing, the reality we've been living in, has been contained within like a kid gate. We've been in a playpen, and like, I don't feel like it's to keep others out exactly, but more of to keep us from interfering with the other realms or frequencies, because there's definitely been in individuals here who have been kind of stuck. They've been stuck
mhm,
here. And so they've been misbehaving.
mhm.
You know, I mean, what would you do if you were someplace for eternity and didn't see a way out? You'd find ways to entertain yourself, and I feel like that's a lot of what we've been experiencing. Anyway, so starting now, the prophecy I'm talking about too is, I saw a video. It was from 2012. Um, Someone named, I can't remember the first name, Bloodstow, um,
Mm,
had said that when the Kachina, by the way, holy crap, you just brought something up I didn't even realize I shared. I put it on Facebook just before we started. A year ago today, um, a year ago, 2 days ago, we had something happen that initiated the return of our long-term memory, which is our
mm,
past incarnations and stuff. Anyway, that was a spiral in the sky, March 25th last year. And those spirals are in the, oh, I always forget how to say it. I want to say it's the Choctaw Canyon, but it's not. It's like the Cacao Canyon or something like that. It's in Sedona. I got too many of those kind of type of words in my head. But anyway, if you guys are on Facebook, you'll check it out. Um, Point is that, what's meant to happen now, where the window we've been in, is us reemerging from what some religious groups, because it's in the Bible, call Satan's little season. It's also
mm,
known as Kali Yuga. It's
mhm,
also known as the 200 years where deceit reigns. So reigns meaning REIG, uh, and is that we are now leaving behind this loosh farm, and we're being empowered again. The people are in alignment. We are in the age of Aquarius. We are the Neptune's in Aries. All of the stuff that needs undoing that started in 1776 is now undoing itself. And I mean, I said a lot of different things, and that's for anyone in the audience who has like time that wants to jump down some rabbit holes, because all of those take you down a different rabbit hole that bring you to the same conclusion, that validate my vision. And so I feel like someone maybe like might throw too big of a stick, and then all of there's less galactics than there are interdimensionals, and most of the people we call ETs actually live on the planet in the ocean.
mm.
So they're going to come up and they're going to say, no, we're done. You're done. If you're going to run with scissors, and you can't have scissors anymore. And then life's going to, it's already in transition. It just needs to happen more aligned. And people are required to choose those things. So they're going to be put in front of everyone's face in a good way. But a lot of people, this is the other part of that prophecy that I've been getting since I was 6, is that a lot of people will see someone else choosing fear or choosing things that maybe aren't super aligned for them. That's the correct choice for that person.
Mm.
Right. And so, but what's crazy about this window now is it's harder to choose the fear than it ever was before. And it's going to continue to be that way. Like, in order for, fear, love, those are the 2 root emotions, and all other emotion derived from that. You got shame, anger, guilt, all of those things are all around the fear place. And then they have the spectrum of emotion. And it takes a lot of work now to choose fear over love, to choose fear over empowerment, to choose, and anyone who does choose to divide from us in the awakening journey part that we are in now are going to have to choose really hard. What I'm saying is, do not go to them, for you too shall be lost. You don't need to jump into the pit. Only be the example of how to rise from this dark place. And if they don't come, that's okay. Maybe their soul mission doesn't require that at this time. Maybe they're not done. Maybe they need to repeat 8th grade, you know, and that's not wrong. That's correct for them. It can't be had on this plane any longer. Yet there are timelines or realities, or I can't think of a better word, but things that we have been taught for quite a few years that were supposed to happen, apocalyptic kind of stuff. The word apocalypse actually means to reveal. Um, it's to tell us that, some of those things are being chosen so much they will play out, but not for by our sight. Those who
Mm.
are not choosing that may feel it. It's actually in the book of Matthew too. It says, you will hear rumors of war. You will hear rumors of famine, of disease, of plague, and so on and so forth, though they will not touch you, for you are the chosen ones, or the elect, based on what book you have. That's the different words. They're saying that you're the chosen one. And guess what? There's plural. And they took the S off of it and made it be a singular. They disempowered the nations.
Mm.
You're chosen one. You're chosen one. Everyone on this, you're chosen ones. And so we're here. And so, yes, 100%. All the stuff that I was worried about yesterday is gone. Now it's playtime. Now it's time to go frolic in the park and not worry about all of it. Like, it's done. It's done. And it's undoing. It does take some time. And they said that the end of this cycle is, well, part of it. When it's in completion, I've been talking for a long time. I hope you don't mind. The other part of it is that, so this June, that's actually why we're doing that party, the retreat that we're doing. Okay, I put it in the comments too for anyone who's interested in joining us for the retreat. The reason that we're doing it then is that here, I'll put it up on the screen so you guys can see the website to click. Maybe you'll be able to see it. Yep, there it is. Is that that's going to be a window of time where we're going to have some everybody else kind of thing happening. And I'm being guided to be on the Crystal Mountain. Where we're going in Mount Ida, it only ever is a place where you go, where this venue, I guess you could call it, only allows people to come who are in alignment with the spiritual frequency. We have meditation groups that meet there and stuff. The last people that were there was a group of monks were there. Like, she doesn't do like weddings and bridal showers, is my point. You know what I mean? And this is a sacred place, and I want to be there. I want to be on this massive slab of crystal during this frequency time. And so through June and even a little bit farther, we're going to be stabilizing what we're talking about. Right. And so that's why. And so between now and June, Spirit talks in cliff notes, and when they say an event, they don't usually mean like a day.
Mhm.
You know, the big flash started in 2023. We're still doing it on April 4th on the 4-4 portal. That's that sun grazer comet's going to slam into the sun, or almost slam into the sun, whatever it does. It's going to get close enough to cause the sun to activate. And there's going to be an activation that a lot of people are trying to say is going to be this big flash. It's not going to be, just so you can stop being fearful, guys. It already has been going on. So anyway, I can go on for a lot longer than that, but I'm going to pull back because I don't want to waste all of the time talking about me. But I'm super excited about this, though. It's so cool. And we're finally here. We finally did it. It's time to play. It's time to go get out the balloons and the confetti because we're here. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
It's got me excited.
Yeah. I'm super excited too. It's going to be one of those things that when you're looking for it, it's easy to see. When you're choosing to whatever you choose to focus on gets bigger, right? And so if we're choosing to focus on the things that suck, like Carl at work, or
Yeah.
something that's, it's going to be easier to be invested in the fear when we're looking at our phones a lot. So doing things like you talked about. What was her name? Kelly Collard.
Kolodny.
How do you
K
spell
O
that last
K O L O D N E Y.
name?
She's definitely someone that I stumbled upon thanks to Lavender Moon Energetics. And we're in right now resurrection code. So all of these codes are connected to this card deck that she made called the 56 light codes. And she's guided by Angel Raphael going through all of these codes and does like different activations. And they're usually like 3 weeks. So the first one I did she just did death code. She did, I think it was birth something. That was the one I did. Wow. And then right now she's in the resurrection, and the next one is like protection code. But I do really recommend if you just want a very concentrated I almost feel like I've entered into like a portal of some sorts where it's like you're just fed all of this like energetic uh activations in
Yeah.
such a short period of time. Um and yeah, I'm like still trying to integrate that into my daily life and upgrade figure out what the upgrade is looking like. But wow, there's so much that has just, even from when I first did the first light code with her, which was December, to now, so much in my life has happened. And I remember last time we met, you said I basically have like jumped 7 timelines,
Yeah.
and I feel it. There's so much that I would have had you asked me in November, what I foresaw for the next like 4 or 5 months. Couldn't have told you anything that has happened because it's
Right.
completely coming from like, whoa, okay, I'm just here for the ride. Like, what is going on? But it's been so fun. It's been so fun. I
Yeah.
don't feel like I'm getting whiplash at all. Um, I am just unlocking different parts of myself and really seeing how that plays out in my interactions with people. And yeah, it's really helped me have goals
Yeah.
and like go after them. Because I get a lot of visions of things that I want to do in this life, things that I think I'm supposed to do. I don't know if it's maybe visions from like past lives, but um, now I'm not afraid to dare to go after them.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just even being on the show in and of itself. Um, it's funny, I finished the last page of my journal today. Um,
Oh, wow.
and I was like, of course, of all the days, it would be the last day,
Wow.
the last page. So even that, just feeling, it feels like I'm closing a chapter and yeah, completion. And I'm so similar to how you feel about these next couple months.
Yeah.
I also am slowly trying to teach myself astrology before I jump into a program. But my Saturn is in Aries, and that's now.
Yep.
We're returning. So I was listening to some Deborah Silverman, I think it's her name, and she's a very fun watch, and she teaches you astrology, and she's incredible. And she was talking about Saturn being like a choice. You can either go the positive way or the negative way.
Yeah.
Um, and I fully feel myself stepping into that like positive ascension towards the higher timeline of my Saturn, which
Yeah.
is in Aries. So it's like discipline. It's like a lot of passion and going after my dreams and not being soft spoken. And so really trying to honor that in my life and see what happens.
That's awesome. I was smiling because I have like 8 placements of Aries in my chart, and when you said discipline, I was like, is she talking about the right sign?
Yeah.
Just because of me. I'm me. I want to say thank you to Benedict. Thank you, Benedict, for the 10 euro. That was really kind of you.
Hmm.
Thank you. Yeah, that's fun. That's really cool. And Aries Neptune being in Aries is uh it happens only every 250 years. Think about what happened
Hmm.
250 years ago. The country was founded. That was there's a lot that's going to be revealed this next year and a half about this. Um through to next June solstice. So I'm talking about 2027's. That's when we're going to start to really find out. And many of us kind of they tell us things after we already know about them that it's like you know that but our history is nothing like we've been told, and that's all that you really need to know about that, honestly. However, being that Neptune's in Aries right now, it's always a time where there's a spiritual re-evolution or some type of some people would call it an uprising.
Hmm.
Spirit calls it spiritual re-evolution instead of the other word, because that's more of what we're doing today, now, at this time, and for this 14-year window. And the fact that your time is in Aries, Chronos is time, and Saturn is Chronos, and Chronos is time. And so that tells me something very powerful about what this year is going to be for you too, this window of time for you, because that's the undoing of time, which a lot of us are experiencing. The time slippage that we've been having. Like, can you believe it's Friday? Like, let alone it's the end of March. I really still feel like that July never actually happened, and we're all the way in March now, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't ask me what the date is.
Yeah.
Please don't. You're
Yeah.
gonna think I'm not here.
Yeah.
So,
I
wow.
also saw something else that because spirit says this to us, is they say that um, the reluctant leaders are the leaders of today, and you fit very much into that category. Your level of you're so humble and loving, and you're just I know you don't see yourself the way you will see yourself, because we see you, and the response that the audience has given and shown you in this conversation. I hope that you go back and read this again, because you are such an amazing person. I always look forward to it whenever you want to connect with me. Whenever you schedule a session, I get super duper excited. I'm like, yay. And I am getting emotional and saying that I am so honored to be able to present you to the world, because you are just such an amazing soul, and I love you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Mila.
you.
I love you too. Wow, thank you so much. I'm working on it, really trying to see myself in the most positive light.
Yeah,
Um, and I appreciate you so much, one, for letting me be here on your birthday
of
and
course.
seeing me in ways that I don't fully see myself.
Wow. I know I'm not alone, as you'll see when you go back and read these comments. Thank you so much. I'm so honored and so uh, just privileged to have you here. And I just, you're always welcome back anytime. I mean, we barely scratched any conversation. It feels like we've already talked for an hour and a half, though.
I know. There's always so much to say, and I will
Um,
definitely be back.
good. I forgot to ask you this before we started, so if this isn't, is there, if someone does want to contact you, is there any way that you'd like them to do that, or
Yeah, I'm not on social media super fully right now,
good for you?
but you can totally contact me on my email. It's Naomi, Naomi Smith, number one, at gmail.com.
So is it
That's my,
hashtag one like number or just the number one?
oh, just number one, or just one. No
I'm
number is
from
fine.
the,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
Generation
just
X.
one. That's probably the best way for now. But stay tuned. There, I have been called to uh, open up myself to social media or media very soon. So,
Awesome.
yeah, thank you.
And for those wondering, I will go back after we're done with this live. And I cut you off. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Go ahead.
No, no, there
Okay.
wasn't.
I started talking, I realized that there was a delay. Uh, I will go back and add that email address to the description of this video for anyone who does want to just be able to click it. And that'll be something. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what your world will be like in just a short time because you so quickly evolve, not to say that you're not super evolved now, but it's just going to be really fun to watch, so thank you very much for being willing to come on this platform. And we will have you on again. I look forward to that. Is there anything you'd like to say in parting before we end this conversation today?
Um, Nothing really comes to mind. I am just so filled with appreciation, and I want to thank you all for your warm welcome and your very kind and thoughtful words. And thank you, Mila.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, I want to say thank you also. We're so blessed to have such an amazing group that come on. I've seen other live chats and different channels, and this one is you don't have to. There's no bots, you know, and I love that there's so many. I didn't mean to do that. Um, there's so many uh amazing souls that you guys are so loving, so beautiful, and so thank you for being you and for being so loving. I love all of everybody here. It's so beautiful, so thank you. um and yeah, we are having our retreat. So if anybody that is interested, please look to the uh, description of this video to find the link for that. And also, if you'd like to book a session with me or are interested in joining our Telegram group, there the Telegram group is free. Those links are in the description of this video as well. Um, and I just wanted to add one more thing is that in the Telegram group, I post a lot of our channeled I do channeled meditations too, that we were talking about before you mentioned earlier. And so anyone that's wondering where to find those are free in the Telegram group. You just go follow the link in the description of this video to go to a group of I think there's like 500 people there from all over the
Wow.
world. And so you always know that there's going to be somebody away. There's some time zone where it's perfect for someone to be there to answer. It's so great to see the other people saying, yeah, me too. If you have something going on, you can say anybody else, and there's validation. You don't have to feel alone. And in that, there's also a section where I post the weekly meditations. Those are free, and I encourage you to check those out. It's meant for our global benefit. It's not meant for monetary gain. So please share it with anyone you want to as well. So once again, thank you so much. You're
Thank
amazing.
you.
Thank you for
I love you
shining,
so much.
for sharing your shine. Oh yeah, me too. I love you so much too. You're amazing. And yes, this was a very great show. I thank everybody for being here. And I'm going to close now with saying you're not alone. There's been some crazy energies coming in, but following some of the practices that Naomi mentioned here, allowing us to, move, dance, do like Reiki, do whatever it is that works for you. Sometimes people do Qigong, the beginning Qigong. It's really useful, 10 minutes, anything, move. You're going to find that you're going to benefit so much more in allowing yourself to move. So this is just this. We're getting to the end of the suck, which is awesome. Thank you. Sending all of
Thank
you so
you.
much love.